will now come to order. Roll call.
Councillor Rousey.
Here.
Councillor Koivunen.
Here.
Councillor Purpich.
Here.
Councillor Lillis.
Here.
Mayor Vaisalavich.
Here. Minutes of City Council meeting dated May 3rd, 2022. If no one has any questions or changes, call for a motion that we accept these. So moved. Motion made by Koivunen. We have a support. Support. Support by Lillis. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item D, approval of tonight's agenda. I've got one addition from the Public Works Director. That'll be item 6. Anybody else have anything to add or delete? If not, I'll call for approval of tonight's agenda with this one change.
So moved.
Motion made by Rousey. We have support.
Support.
Support by Purpich. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We've got a short agenda tonight. We have a few guests out here in the audience, so I was going to break from our regular meeting routine and let our guests address the council. First, we have Gordon Ramsay here tonight. He is running for St. Louis County Sheriff. Gordon, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for having me. My name is Gordon Ramsay. I'm running for the St. Louis County Sheriff. And I wanted to just stop by and introduce myself and say hello and give you a real quick synopsis of why I'm running. I am a Duluth. I grew up in Duluth. That's my hometown. I've been married to my wife, Tracy, for 25 years. We have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. I have been in policing since age 20. Got in very early. I should have known I was too young because my first job was in Iron River, Wisconsin, just outside of Superior, about 30 miles or so. My first day alone, someone called 911 on me and said there was a 14-year-old driving a squad car down the highway. And it was me. But it was a great place to start out. I later returned to Duluth after graduating from UMD and worked there through 2016. I was the police chief in Duluth from 06 until 16. And I love policing. I'm passionate about the role that law enforcement plays in our society. What's happening right now, I have a lot of concerns with the amount of drugs that are in our communities. You know, there was another overdose on the range here involving a couple of people recently, and what I see happening in our schools with how it's impacting kids. For me, my number one issue is reducing crime, and primarily that involves crime around drugs. Stuff that gets stolen from your houses, as you know, and your cheap is it's often drug related. So I want this to be the same way it was for my kids when I grew up, where you're safe and you don't always have to be worried about your safety or stuff. Second of all is relationships. As you know, the sheriff is responsible for emergency management, and I want to make sure that you know me and that we have a relationship before there's a major issue. The last thing you want is to meet someone for the first time when there's a natural disaster or something big going on. So I am not an office guy. I like getting out. As a 16-year chief, I like to go out and meet with people that I serve and keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on, as well as with area agencies. I think right now there's issues with, we're all struggling for training, resources, and I see it is ripe for more collaboration and working together. That's another thing that would be important to be under that relationship umbrella. And then third is taking care of our law enforcement. You know, there's not enough people entering the field, and I think no doubt it has to do with the last few years. It is a noble profession and something that I'm very proud to do. It's been disturbing to see the way it's been politicized in many cases, and as a result, we're not seeing people entering the profession. And when you call for law enforcement, or your loved ones, or your friends call for law enforcement, you want the best and brightest to come. You don't want bottom of the barrel. And unless things change with the way we're doing things, and unless we start supporting people that want to go into law enforcement, encouraging the best and the brightest to go into the profession, I'm a little bit worried. We've got a crisis on our hands. So I want to make sure that that the sheriff, as sheriff, that I stand up for our cops and our law enforcement, and I'm a strong advocate for them, obviously in the right situations. I see the officer's wellness also as a big important part of that. I mean, police officers see and have to deal with terrible things, and we know today how often it changes personalities, and suicide rate for officers is very high. And as a leader in law enforcement, I want to make sure we're doing all we can to keep them healthy. not only physically but mentally as well. So those are kind of my three things. I appreciate the few minutes before you, and of course, if you have any advice for me or anything you want me to know, what you'd like to see in the sheriff, I welcome it. The last thing I should say is that I have a new admiration for people that throw their name in the ring for running for politics, because I'm quickly learning that that when people say it can be nasty, I've learned that there's not a nice side to politics. So I admire all of you for that. Thank you very much.
You know, just for my comments, there's just a lack of disrespect for anybody. I don't care if police, fire, paramedics, EMTs. I mean, things that just got turned upside down where you got criminals are the heroes, and I don't know how it ever got that way. And I like a safe community. I know I can speak for everybody, where people can walk, kids can walk somewhere, and that's the number one priority of this body, I think, the public safety. Because I think we're on the same page that the Sheriff's Department has to really be more involved with the local law enforcement, like you say, to have your finger on the pulse. But I want to thank you for coming up. Gordon, anybody else have any questions? Or
Appreciate you stopping by to introduce yourself. It's very nice of you.
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
Yep, glad to meet you and good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much. You'll see more of me, and certainly if there's anything for me, reach out anytime. Thanks.
well,
Thank you.
for coming.
Thank you.
We got Mr. Coon would like to address the council. Even though he moved out to Fail and he's not an Eveleth resident, we're going to let him talk.
You know where my heart is. I want to thank you, first of all. My name is Tom Coon. Most of you know me, some of you don't. I lived in Eveleth for about 25 years after I came out of service, and I moved out to Fail Township. And your police department just happens to have a contract to patrol Fail Township. That's where my story starts. Last Thursday, we had one heck of a rainstorm. And before you knew it, at 10 o'clock, I'm calling MP&L for lights out. And if anybody knows where I live, it's wet there. I'm probably the lowest lot in that area. And you know what happens when things run downhill and you don't have power? I go to my garage, get my generator out, start the generator, we run the extension cords, and my wife Carol and I are happier and happy. The generator's running, the sump pumps are running in the basement is dry. Half hour later, after 2 checks, the generator is no longer running. I can't start it. So my wife and I, for over an hour, baled the sump by hand with the 5-gallon buckets, carried it up the stairs, threw it out the door, went downstairs, back and forth, back and forth. My knees and my legs were getting like rubber. She said, "You got to call someone." I said, "Our son lives in International Falls, our daughter's down by Kenosha, or Oshkosh. Who's going to help?" Called Dougie, my brother. He says, "Side late." He said, "I got problems up here too. You don't know what the problems are." But he said, "I'll bring a generator." So in the meantime, we're bailing and bailing. I can't go anymore. So I called the Eveleth PD's non-emergency number, no answer. Of course, it's nighttime. So then I called 911. I needed some help. He tells me the Eveleth PD is tied up on a call right now, but they'll come out and help you. Well, lo and behold, about midnight, Officer Dustin Huta is the first one to show up. I introduced myself, told him what the problem was. He said, "Let me help." He gets down, hands and knees, bailing sump, carrying buckets of water out of my house for at least 45 minutes. Then the second officer was Chris Mellon, shows up. He said, "What's the problem?" I said, "Water, lots of water." So Dustin tells him, Patrolman Dustin Huta says to his partner, "Why don't you go look at his generator? He can't get it started again." Explain the whole story to him. He said, "Let me look at it." He putzes around with it. We go on the book, step by step by step. 6 pulls later, he starts my generator. And I tell you what, I never felt better in my life in a long time, because we didn't get power again until 5:30 in the morning. So we were out 7.5 hours. We've been a long time bailing water. But what I'm here for is I already talked to your chief. I thanked him. I thanked the 2 officers personally. And I think the council should hear that you have some hell of great police officers. They're not only protecting, they're serving, just like the car says. And I can't thank you folks enough for hiring the quality officers you have. My wife can't thank you. And of course, my insurance company likes it too. But we pump water, and then the next day, with electric pump, I pump over 9,000 gallons of water out of the low spot in my yard. That's how much rain we have. Over 4 inches that night in a matter of hours. So, I want to thank you again for the chief, for his officers, and for the consul. I want to thank you first of all for having the contract that failed. Because without you, that would be, I don't know where we'd be today. So, again, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Tom,
Thanks,
for
Tom.
coming up.
Bob, so many times we hear all the bad stuff about the town.
You sat up here and you know all the
I
complaints
understand that,
and
I
versus
understand.
compliments.
It was fantastic. That's all I
Well,
can say.
well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, Michelle, I know you had a request. You wanna?
You sent a letter.
We sent the letter? Well, maybe we can answer that letter here a little bit, because,
It sent a letter to, thank you for having me here. Sent a letter about purchasing and or leasing, whichever works, a lot between myself and Dr. Mackey downtown for the purpose of outdoor seating.
we've done that in the past, haven't we?
I don't think we leased it.
Leased it?
We leased it to the
But
people.
he never signed the lease.
Yeah, I
So
think
you
we
guys
leased it
approved
to him for $1.
It was like a land license.
Yeah, that's
That was
what we-
like for $1 a year.
But he never executed it and did anything with it, yeah.
No? Anybody have any objections to doing something like that again?
Well, for the outside,
I would encourage it.
yeah.
Carl, what's your thoughts? Can you
Is there any
put something
legalese?
together?
Yeah, we could sure positively put something together. if
Well, I
possible.
understand it would have to be fenced and everything like that, and I've already spoken with Paul Mackey about it because it's going to involve his building too, and he's all good with it.
I think we could put something together with just some things we want to make sure are followed and. have it
Yeah.
signed up.
Yeah, my greatest fear is that, you know, all the places that do have the fenced in areas for outside seating aren't fenced in, and having driven by there today, I know there, a lot of times there's people sitting in that little cubby hole there or whatever, but I think a fence would be my only concern there, is make sure that no children or anything or people off the street, you know.
Well, exactly, and it would be, my original thought with it was a fence. I would like to do wrought iron over chain link. I just think it looks nicer. Something with spindles versus,
Access through the business?
there would be, we would put a gate in there.
Oh,
but it would
okay.
be, you know, it would be locked.
Yeah,
I would leave a key with the police department in case they have to get through there for anything. And then that would be locked until a time it needed to be open for something, whether it's, you know, if I had a lawn mowing or whatever. We haven't fully discussed what we would do with the back door. If just that back door would be sufficient, I don't know that it would be. We might have to put something a little bit higher up there and wall to
Yeah,
wall.
there's a gate there.
On the back, but I think it would, you know, it would definitely cut down the garbage in the area, if it was fenced from the street. And I don't know the full ordinance on it as far as the visibility from the street, how far up you have to have closed-in cover. But you know, you see some that are 4 foot, you see some that are 16 feet. So I don't know what the actual ordinance says, I'll have to look at it.
If I'm not mistaken, it's 10 feet. When I built the fence on the main street there, I was with planning and zoning, and we had to have a 10-foot, whether that's changed or not. And we also had to have, so people couldn't see in.
Right.
That was their big thing,
Privacy slide.
yes.
Have you consulted with liquor control at all? Because I think they have some requirements in statute for outdoor premises that liquor is being served.
I'm not aware of anything, but I'll be more than happy to check with Kelly.
I mean, I'm in favor of it personally, but
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you're covering all your bases so that when you do build, it's going to be up to snuff for liquor control.
Absolutely.
What about you, chief?
well, how about if we leave, Carl, can you and Jackie work with Michelle to
Let's do it.
get something together for you there?
Okay, wonderful. Well, I thank you all.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yes.
Hope you can make use of that.
Let's hope. Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. We got one more guest, Mr. Kotnick.
I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll move on. We have no appointments or presentations. The consent agenda, we have one item, payroll, April 16th through the 30th. If no one has any questions, call for a motion that we approve the payroll.
So moved.
Motion made by Purpich, we have a support. Support by Rousey. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. No public hearings, no unfinished business. And under new business, Second Amendment to exclusive listing agreement with SVN Northco Real Estate Services. Station 44 and 37 property. Okay, I think we tabled that the last meeting.
Is this just to extend their contract through next
Yeah.
year? That's what the Second Amendment is? Okay.
Yeah. Because I know we've got some follow-up, what we've been working on, that's kind of what we're looking for. Some idea what's out there, maybe we have to shift gears in what we're thinking there if we're not getting the right kind of responses.
I appreciate the fact that we got a response from them, on just what they're doing for us, and probably a little bit more comprehensive than I had originally thought.
If no one has any questions, I'll call for a motion that we approve this listing agreement.
So moved.
Motion made by Lillis, we have a support.
Support.
Support by Purpich, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Second Amendment to exclusive listing agreement with the same company, Industrial Park Drive property near the daycare facility, because we own that property in front.
Yep.
Have we ever listed that before, Jackie?
Yes.
Oh, we did? Okay, I was just wondering if there's something new here. If no one has any questions, a call for a motion that we approve this agreement.
So moved.
Motion made by Koivunen, do we have a support?
All support.
Support by Purpich, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Item 3, removal of police officer Huta from probationary status. Well, that should be easy one after that report we just had.
I don't,
Call for a motion that remove Officer Huta from probationary status.
So moved.
Motion made by Lillis, we have a support.
Support.
Support by Koivunen, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item number 4. Letter of support for U.S. Department of Transportation Multimodal Project Discretionary Grant Program. I don't know, Jackie, you want to give a condensed version on what that is?
So at one of the prior meetings, you guys approved a letter of support for, I think it was called a RAISE grant. And this is a similar grant, but through a different funding source. And part of their grant application asks for letters of support. So I'll just take what they've given us, tailor it a little bit, and send it to Mr. Alex Peretz for him to submit with the grant.
Anybody else have any questions or anything? Jim, isn't that?
I just, I was just made aware of something this morning, and I was I guess I'm the only one that's opposed to the roundabout.
They could have asked me, I would have said I'm opposed to it.
I wasn't quoted, but I was mentioned, so.
In the Minneapolis paper.
Boy, they must be lacking something.
It must be, but
Trying to fill up the pages.
anyway.
2 inches of print.
I don't think there's any question that the council supports anything that's gonna provide safety up there through that corridor. And the construction of a new bridge, of course, or repairs to that old bridge or whatever they're planning to do. I don't see any problem with it. It's just, when it comes to the design, I'd like the council to be informed about it. At least the final makeup. But
You're kind of tiptoeing here.
Not bad.
I'll call for a motion, we approve this letter of support.
So moved.
Motion made by Rousey, we have a support.
Support.
Support by Coivinon. Any further discussion? That was your chance to redeem yourself here, Jim, but, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item 5, we addressed that with Michelle here in person, her letter. And item number 6, Jerry, you have something on this?
Yeah, this is part of the communication upgrades that we've discussed in previous meetings and workshops. And to keep going forward with it, possibly have to have a feasibility study done on the AMI meters, which these AMI meters that we were talking about, they'll go in each house and it'll communicate with our computers in the city hall here, where everything is done by the hour and we can see what people use. They won't have to read their meters. Everything's controlled by cell phone or radio communication. And then the second one we were talking about is telecommunications between the water plant, our reservoir, and the tower. And in August, they're gonna cut off transmitting through copper lines that we're using right now to communicate between the buildings, to tell when one building or the tower, when they need water, the pumps kick on, if, they're full, they shut off. So we're gonna lose that communication way of doing it, so now we have to do something else, which is either cell phone use, radio, so we have to look into that. And also the SCADA system we discussed, we put in a new computer in the water treatment plant, but the other part of it needs updating. The wastewater plant needs updating, and all of our lift stations need to be updated with this new SCADA system. So it's all new computer system, and we've talked about possibly bonding for it. So Jackie's looking into that, and they may need a feasibility study done just to see if it's valuable enough to do. So
I'm sure you'll need that feasibility study.
And we have someone, who makes that feasibility study?
benchmark.
Oh, okay.
We got our number one guy right here.
Right there,
for that feasibility
yeah,
study. Ellen. Anybody have any questions, Jerry, on that?
Yeah, one question that's maybe techno freight, but I assume there are some built-in backups to these important systems?
Well, yeah, anytime you use cell phone service or radio controls, you can lose power for a little while, but they are backed up. You're not gonna lose all our data just because the cell service went out. So everything would be backed up.
Thank you.
Well, if no one else has anything, that takes care of new business. Moving on to, anybody have any committee reports or board meetings to talk about?
Mayor, can you guys make a motion for that last item, number 6, please?
Oh, do we need to take action on that?
Yes, please.
Okay,
So moved.
okay, we have a support.
Support.
Support by Koivunen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Did we ever hire anybody for
No.
project up
we
there
are-
yet?
We are in dire straits. It doesn't look good, and they're looking into temps and all their other options, because I had to go over and sign some checks over at their office in Virginia and talk with their dad. And it's not looking good, and our assistant down there has put in her notice, and she said on May 27th she's done. So we're gonna have to lean heavily on their resources over in Virginia to get us through until we can find some help.
Do we have that advertised anywhere?
Oh, yeah, all over.
It's been pushed pretty good.
Who runs
It's
Virginia's?
Dana Hilton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Dana.
They
She's the
manage
director.
ours, right?
Yeah, they
Don't
manage
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought, they manage
Yeah.
ours. Does she have an
She-
assistant over there?
Yeah, we need to.
Can't one kind of come over this way a little
Well, I
bit?
We
think that-
discussed all those options.
Yeah.
And I've discussed it too.
Yes,
John, and-
and it's a horse that is lumped up bad, he's been
Yep.
beat
Yeah.
back, there's, just can't get it done that way. They're understaffed over there by 12 people.
And how many hours a week is this job?
What?
How many hours a week is this?
20, I think?
28.
20?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what,
I really, we're up against it, that's for sure. We're gonna be going on bare bones as far as representation and people on scene until we get an assistant in there. And, you know, how big a carrot can you throw out there to make it feasible too, you know? You get up to $50, I'll take a shot at it.
it's,
I would too. Last a week, take my money, go home.
It wouldn't even last a week. One of the tenants.
I seen that
tell me
job.
to do something.
You know, it's not that, it's that big screen thing, that black magic box, you push keys and stuff comes up on.
for jobs like that, I wonder if, like the college,
We
the tech
talked-
school and all that.
You know, Dana's pretty savvy at what she does.
Oh, yeah, she's been through
She's been through,
every fisherman's net to looking for
Yeah.
they can't get no fish.
Everybody is just so short-staffed, it's just.
We'll make do and
unbelievable.
everything, but it's gonna be sub-quality as far as
Yeah.
representation, that's the
What
way it is.
what do they have to do? Maybe somebody's watching and might be
it's
interested.
an administrative support position.
Yeah, there's computer work, there's
Yep.
dealings with the
Tenants?
clientele. There's the billing and stuff of that nature, you know what I
Stuff
mean? It's just sit at the desk and someone comes in, address their problems, but they're not running in and out of the office there either, you know what I mean? It's not a terrible place to work, but there's plenty of paperwork there, you know, there's 20 hours a week there, easy. However, that's the way that is. We don't have EDA meeting until 20th, 19th, one of them.
It's not like she gave us a short notice.
Oh, no, she gave her 2 weeks, 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
You know.
it's a
But I
struggle.
don't blame her, I really don't, you know. So that's where we're at there. I don't know how else you can make any type of appeal
I
or
don't either, just,
whatever, you know. I think the pot is about as sweet as it's gonna get.
yeah, that's, it's, the nice part, it's half-time, so, somebody's not tied up all day. I imagine it's kind of flexible when you came in, an hours.
I think they run 10 to 4 or something
10 to 4,
like that,
that's-
something like that. They're not open on Fridays, something, I'm not sure. The exact hours.
Yeah, I don't know what else you'd do. Really at a loss. Anything else for us, John?
Nope.
Okay. Joe?
Well, our airport commission meeting didn't go off, so we didn't have a quorum, which you and I were there, so we're gonna try for the 24th.
Yes.
And then our golf course commission, I think we're trying for the 24th at 10, 8:30. It's gonna be close. But otherwise, I have nothing.
Jim, you have anything to add?
Nothing right now, Mayor.
Brian?
No, sir.
No, I don't have much, but I think we got a busy week next week with a few meetings going on, some contractors and stuff, so after that, we might have something to report. But going forward, I really don't have much to say. I see the crews are all out sweeping the streets and everything is going along like it should. Chief, you got anything to add? Jerry?
Yeah, no, just with the late start, we did get most everything swept up. We have a few alleys left, but we caught up pretty fast, which was surprising. Our sweeper is down right now, so we'll be out of commission for a few days until we get it fixed.
No, you start sweeping and it snows again. That's
Well, we did-
unbelievable.
Then you sand again, and then you
Yeah.
sweep again, and you snow again.
You see, we're having a little problem with our Bobcats.
We're having a problem with the Bobcat too, but.
I saw him working on it when I came here, so.
Are we buying a new one?
Yeah, you approved to get it once.
What's the lead time on that thing? Probably 6 months?
Yeah, we don't know yet. They had one in stock, but that's gone, so it could be a while until that comes. We'll get this one fixed back up and running too. We always have those problems and get it fixed.
Well, do what we can with what we got, that's
We're
all.
in the alleys cleaning up right now, for spring cleanup. So, started on the east side of town, coming to the west side.
Well, you continued to babble, so now I got a question. How many dumpsters did we send out this year? Do you have any idea?
Dumpsters?
From the cleanup?
I don't know a total yet. I'll know here when I get.
Was it a good season, pretty busy?
Yeah, it was a busy season.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I think the Hockey Hall of Fame, had 4 of our rental truckloads,
Yep.
4, plus a couple of pickup loads that went down there.
They were all stored in a nice room, nice?
Huh?
They were all stored in a room up there?
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing historic left, but a lot of the, you know, they changed the format of the rooms and stuff, and, there was a bunch of stuff that was thrown out.
Alan, you got anything to add?
Just to remind that next week, we'll probably see the start of the Roosevelt Douglas project. They're starting on Roosevelt with all the communication, and if the schedule kind of dictates that part, we'll probably go into July. That's what the schedule looks like right now.
Well, I see they're starting to demo the manual training now too. They're doing that block too, I think, of Roosevelt, aren't they?
Yep, right up to that level.
And they capped off the water and sewer today.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when's Douglas start? Do they have a start date for that one, or is that after
It's
Roosevelt?
after you're gonna finish Roosevelt.
Oh, okay. All right. Steph, you got anything to add? Jackie?
I don't think so.
Carl?
Just the fact that I'm doing it is not going to affect me being president of the Jerry Fan Club.
The water looks pristine too, doesn't it? Looks
I know
like
you're trying,
coffee.
Jerry, but I'm still president.
Looks like someone's drinking coffee.
You spilled your coffee maybe there.
That's what you-
Dripping. But
I'll get that fixed, right?
I will not fold the
Oh, it's fixed, it's fixed.
You know, I'm just to say one thing before we close. You know those meetings we're having on the highway there? Chief, you been invited to those? Okay, because we probably need your input on, you know, what the spots there and what you think is safe and what's not, because it's kind of a unique situation there. Because I'm anticipating more development along that corridor. The school is on the county road, because they're getting some inquiries on the properties. That's okay, as long as you're invited to all those meetings, because I think we need that input from a safety perspective. But I don't have anything to bring up. Anybody from the audience? If not, we'll adjourn the meeting.